Tonight on the Vince Dao Show, right-wing activist Billboard Chris brutally assaulted by a crazy transformer, aka transvestite, aka transgender, in Vancouver, Canada. Find out what the cops did in response. It is shocking. Also, Dylan Mulvaney is the new face of Bud Light. It is so over for beer bros. And the New York Times is no longer verified by Twitter. Also, we have a fun story for you tonight. It's the racist turtle. You're probably saying, Vince, what do you mean racist turtle? We got a racist turtle for you tonight on the Vince Dao Show. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. We are live tonight from the great state of Florida. Welcome everyone to the Vince Dao Show. I am your host, Vince Dao, and we are back. Hope you had a great weekend. Happy Monday. Hope everyone had a blessed Palm Sunday and a great weekend. And we are back here. It is good to be back. It is refreshing to be back. So before we begin, everyone, be sure to leave a like on the show right now and subscribe if you are new. We're at 21 likes. Let's get that number up, okay? 50 likes. Come on. We are chasing it. Big numbers. We do this show live every weeknight at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So be sure to join us, Monday through Friday and through the rest of the week. Now, if you want to support the show tonight or you have a question or comment that you want read and answered, feel free to send it in via a super chat. I will be checking super chats periodically throughout the night. And of course, as usual, we do our Q&A portion at the end. So if you want to support the show, you want to interact with me in the live chat, feel free to send that in. All right, before I start, let me check the time. What time is it? It is the hour of Dao. Let us let the Vinsanity commence, ladies and gentlemen. So, programming alert before we begin. As you may have heard today, Donald Trump went up to New York to be served his indictment. There's not a ton of news on that front currently. I'm not going to make it a story tonight, but we are monitoring it. We are paying attention to it. But as he has announced, okay, so programming alert for the show tomorrow. Tomorrow night, Donald Trump will be making his return speech to Florida at Mar-a-Lago around 8:15 p.m. Eastern time. He announced this today. So again, Donald Trump will be addressing the nation tomorrow, Mar-a-Lago, 8:15 p.m. Eastern time. That obviously overlaps with our show. So announcement for tomorrow night, we will start the show as usual, 8 p.m. But starting at 8:15, we will cut to the live coverage of the Trump speech. So if you want to get the show and coverage of the Trump speech, join us tomorrow night, same place here on YouTube. All right. Well, with that out of the way, let's get into tonight's show, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we open tonight by covering this video you may have seen over the weekend of a violent assault at the hands of a transformer transgender in Vancouver, Canada. This was this weekend. You may have seen it. And, this video really is shocking and upsetting for two reasons. Firstly, is obviously the fact that this LGBT ABC individual has very violent tendencies and low impulse control that he obviously acted upon. But secondly, and we'll talk about this in a second, is the fact that the Canadian Vancouver police literally saw all of this happen. They did nothing and basically told our right-wing friend right here that he was asking for it. What am I talking about? Well, I could contextualize it more, but I think it really speaks for itself if you see the video first, and then we'll explain the little detail that's needed maybe after that. But here you go. So I'm going to play it right now, but just really quickly, cover your ears, women and children. Very graphic language, very graphic content. I could censor it, but there's just no way physically you'll see the video to censor it. But here you go. Here's the video out of Canada this weekend.
I don't know what to say. I guess these police officers are mostly indoctrinated as well. They're afraid of the mob. I think they're afraid that if they do anything to actually keep law and order, that they'll end up being on the end of this verbal abuse. So it's just cowardice from everybody all around.
People probably
See what I mean?
How do you keep your composure?
What's that?
How do you keep your composure?
Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you!
Nothing.
Fuck you! 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 Hey! My dog.
So that video you saw there is of a guy named Billboard Chris. He's the right-wing guy with the billboard that stands there and counter-protests to leftist events. So shout out to him. Be sure to look up his name, follow him on YouTube, Twitter, all those places. Show him your support, and obviously, Billboard Chris, you are welcome on this show anytime. But notice what we saw in that video. So there's a couple of different things. Firstly, obviously, what we saw is a mentally ill, hormonally unstable individual with very low impulse control completely lose control and lash out at violence for basically no reason at the sight of very minor provocation. Which, are we noticing a pattern there, folks? Are we allowed to notice a pattern there? Is that illegal? Surely not, right? There is no pattern, of course. In fact, as we know, the LGBT ABC transformer community is the real victim in this story, right? Never mind the fact that he violently assaulted someone. He's the real victim because Billboard Chris hurt his feelings. And obviously, this is something that we all know.
Excuse me, ma'am. No porn at the bar.
Oh, it's okay. I'm transgender.
Oh, I had no idea. Do whatever you want all the time.
Chris?
Many such cases, and we know this to be the social truth of modern society, right? Transformers, Optimus Prime, he's never accountable for anything, much less are we allowed to firstly hold them accountable, but also notice patterns in human behavior. So of course, I would never do such a thing. I would never do something like notice general patterns in human behavior. And further, this transformer is obviously, as you can tell, right? Obviously is 100% a woman, and you must respect the transformer. Never mind the fact that this ABC person sounds like a man, completely throws down like a man. I don't know if women exactly move like that or fight like that, but no, of course, this is a woman, right? No different of a woman than like Taylor Swift or whatever. As you know, Taylor Swift in that situation would do the exact same thing. So there you go. So, but you probably watched that video, right? And you're thinking, okay, well, it was a bad video, but surely the transformer here must have been charged with aggravated assault and was arrested moments later. But that is, of course, incredibly ignorant and bigoted of you to assume that laws and rules and the order of civilization applies to the Transformer Optimus Prime community. Have you forgotten the golden rule of Western civilization, which is that rules do not apply to the Transformers? Okay? Bigot. So you'll see in this video I'm about to play here, Billboard Chris went to the Vancouver police saying, hey, this Transformer just assaulted me. Optimus Prime just assaulted me. I have the video. Can you do something? And here was their response. Check it out.
Excuse me, did you just say he came here to incite violence by forcing his opinion on people?
Yeah. Yes.
You think he came here to incite violence because they got offended by his sign?
When you
What
talk
is
to
wrong
someone
with you?
and scream at someone and
He
put
didn't
your
scream
face...
at all.
Yes,
he
did.
didn't. They put their face in his face. What is wrong with you?
Okay.
So are you saying the guy who hit him
How on earth did you become a police officer?
Good question.
She is literally
What?
sitting here saying that Billboard Chris is inciting violence by standing there with his sign. Is that really your position?
Okay, sir. We're done with this conversation.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought so. This is absolutely unbecoming of the Vancouver Police Department. Disgusting.
Yeah. They walk off. Absolutely unbelievable, right? The cops basically spit in his face. They told him it was his fault, right? They straight up said, it is your fault and we're not going to get involved because you were standing there saying mean things or whatever. Now, I don't know exactly how the law works in Canada. I'm fully aware Canada is a communist country, but, in the United States, that's, at least on paper, not the law, right? If you assault someone who's standing there lawfully and peacefully, that's you who broke the law. Like, it doesn't matter if they were making you mad. You can't just assault someone because you're a Transformer, you're Megatron, as someone said in the chat, and you're angry. But I don't know. I guess this is what happened. The cops basically spit in his face. They tell him it's his fault. They tell him to go kick rocks. Anarcho-tyranny, to say the least. But you know what? In fairness to these two Vancouver police officers, in total fairness to them, objectively, I mean, look at them. Just look at them. Look at the video. Look at him. Look at the Transformer. Look at Megatron. And then look at him. Look at those cops. Do you think these girls stand a chance against that transformer? Do you think they would be able to detain him whatsoever? Look at that. I mean, to that guy's credit, he threw down. He went, you know, do you really think these two female woman cops are going to do anything to stop that situation? Absolutely not. I mean, no wonder they didn't do anything. They're probably terrified of the guy, right? As would most females in the situation of being asked to stop, you know, Megatron himself, right? So can I really blame female cops who shouldn't be in this situation to begin with? And all of this raises an important question, in my opinion. I personally don't believe that women belong in the police force or the military at all. Maybe this video is kind of an example, but I'll explain why I believe that in a second. But if you're going to allow that, if you're going to let women cops and females in the police force and all this stuff, why on earth would you have a police squad that has two females on females in the squad? Like, why wouldn't you at least want to put one physically capable and competent male police officer in the squad? I mean, lecture me all you want about feminism, but everyone deep down knows this. This right here, that what you see on your screen, is a recipe for disaster. This is a visibly incompetent police squad. And you look at, they're not exactly even like big, tall, like butch women. No, these are just like girls, right? These are just like normal women. And these right here, folks, call me whatever names you want. If I'm calling 911, these are the very last people I want to show up. And I'm sorry, you know it's true. You know it's true. You don't want these women showing up to save your life either. And you know what? Let me take that all one step further and let me get in trouble in the future or whatever. But this is true. I'm not backing down from this. I don't think women should serve in the police force or the military at all. And it's not just for physical reasons. Obviously, the physical strength thing is a big factor. It's very apparent in the video. Look at the stature. You know they're not going to be able to stop that transformer. But I also think there are moral reasons why women do not belong in combat. Simply put, strong civilizations do not send a woman to war in any capacity, which I would argue really enforcing the streets, right? That is a form of war. And I don't know how else to say it. It's just simply a reality of human existence. It is something that every successful civilization in human history has recognized. And I don't know if am I going to get in trouble for saying that? I don't care. I don't care how controversial it is, because frankly, if I were going into combat, give me my boys, right? I want an all-male fighting unit, and you might say, well, Vince, well, I get the physical aspect, but you're being sexist, because what about the 0.0001% of women who can pass all the military and police physical tests? What about them? Well, again, this is maybe the more controversial part, as opposed to just saying the physical differences. I still would not want to fight alongside women in war, and here is why. The first reason is situational awareness. It is well documented that men have faster reflexes and spatial awareness than women. This is why we tend to be better drivers as a stereotype. But frankly, let's face it. Again, I'm going to get in trouble, but it's just a reality of human nature, right? Women very often are oblivious to things. Is this true, right? Which is fine, and, you know, guys, we kind of find it kind of cute, and that's all good in peacetime. But, you know, again, you can call me whatever names. I don't care about a political agenda right now. I am saying that is the last thing you want in war, okay? It is what gets your unit killed by a booby trap, an IED. It's what gets you ambushed by an enemy. You know, like, extreme attention to detail under pressure is something that is very important in warfare. And, you know, frankly, like I said, situational awareness, it is a biological thing. Spatial awareness, you know, it's not the same in women. And I know I'm going to be attacked by feminists for saying that. But again, this is a reality of human existence that we all can observe and deep down know to be true. And you know what? If I'm going to war, I don't care about political correctness. I care about survival, which is why I'm tossing out all your idealistic garbage about equality and, I don't know, Rosie the Riveter or whatever. I'm discussing the sheer reality here of human nature. Again, you can get mad at it, but it's true. Which is, again, that women are not as situationally aware as men. And you might say, oh, well, let me put it in your face, this 1% exception. I don't care about your 1% exception. It's my life. It's war. We don't have time to experiment with unproven ideologies. I mean, that's just silly, okay? It's just silly. Secondly, the second reason I would not go to war with women is decision-making. Women are scientifically far more emotional creatures than men. This is a good thing. God makes them that way because those are the characteristics needed to raise children. This is why you sometimes see a woman can just look at a baby and immediately just start interacting with it and talking to it and like playing with it in a way that we men generally, we just can't do that. We just don't have that like baby irrational emotional instinct in us. And that's fine because we lack the emotional intelligence of women. But we also must acknowledge that if God makes women into emotional creatures for a purpose, then he also makes men ideally into logical, stoic creatures for a purpose. And in warfare, the last thing I need is emotional decision making, right? The first one to lose their head is the first one to get killed in the streets as a cop or on the battlefield. And you know what? Women are very likely to do this. Again, you can argue with me, you can cancel that take all you want or get mad. It just doesn't change reality. I am not saying any of this to insult women or attack women. I'm just simply saying that it is my personal belief. Again, if you were sending me into warfare, these are the multi-layered reasons why I'm like, I don't put a woman in my combat unit, right? If I were putting together an army, I would, these are just the reasons I'm listing out why it would all be men. Again, you can get mad, but again, we're talking about our survival here. Again, who cares about political correctness, okay? There's a reason why even I would say the seemingly biologically programmed response of women. Do you notice this? What do women do whenever there's in danger, right? Where there's a shooter or a bomb, whatever it is. Do you notice how in virtually every video of any graphic bad thing you see ever happening, the first thing you hear is women start to scream and run to men for help, right? Do you notice that? Do you notice that that's a case in any crisis video you see? It's almost like you guys, women, are programmed to do that, which you are, biologically speaking. You know why? Because it's not your biological or natural duty to handle these situations, which is fine, right? I think most men are perfectly happy saying, yes, it is our job in society to be your protectors, but don't turn around coming to me saying that you don't belong, that you do belong in the military or the police force. I just don't buy it. Frankly, women in general do not have the same decision-making responses of men. They cannot handle stress in the same way. They do not process stress in the same way. They're more emotional in general, etc., etc. Again, this is not me attacking women. This is me listing out reasons why I believe as men it is our biological imperative to protect you. But again, all of those feminine characteristics are not things that I would want on the battlefield, regardless of whether or not you're the top 0.001% of women who are physically strong enough to do it, okay? I don't know what to tell you. And thirdly and lastly, before we move on from this point, I would lastly say that there's simply a social reason why women don't belong in a male space like the military. And this again gets back to the take I say all the time, which is that women are different than men. Yes, physically, obviously, but also socially and biologically and emotionally, all that stuff, okay? The truth of the matter is, we can act like we're all biologically the same, but men act and think differently when they are only around other men, when they are in an all-male space, as compared to when they're around women, and vice versa. Women also act differently around only women versus men and women or only men, right? Don't deny it. Think about this in your own life. Like, you probably have certain social situations, whatever it is, where you're with a mixed gender friend group, guy and girls. And are those friend groups, are those social interactions the same as your same gender ones? Do you act differently? Do you think differently? Of course you do. We all do. And frankly, in that trench, I don't care. I don't, again, call me whatever names you want. I'm telling you, in a real warfare where all this nonsense about feminism does not matter, okay? Women are simply a distraction for men. And I don't even mean that necessarily in a sexual sense. I mean, sometimes people say that, oh, well, they can't control their sexual... yes, sometimes that would be an issue. But also, it's warfare. Like, I don't think it's necessary that they're thinking about that. I mean it in the sense that there is something about a fraternal bond, a bond between men, and that can only exist between men, that breeds the strength and the competition and the brutality needed to go and fight a war. And that is hindered by the presence of females as comrades, okay? And if you're a guy, you might understand this. You know what I'm saying. All of the harsh and vulgar things that men need to be willing to, accept and embrace and all that to fight war, it's just not the same when you're around women. I don't know what you want me to say. Just guys, think about it for a second. Think about, you're in the trench, it's World War I. Think about how your sort of emotion and just your outlook on that situation would differ if, you were around women in the trench versus all men. You know it's different because we act differently when we're only around men. And, I mean, think about this logically too. in a combat unit, everyone's supposed to have this ideal of sort of being equal, quote unquote, in a sense, but you cannot scream at a female comrade to, get your effing head together in the same way you can to a man. You could not, at least I would not, in good conscience, draw straws or do something like send out a woman on the drawstring to, go out and sniper fire, right? There's just so many examples of how the presence of a female hinders a combat unit, and again, it's more than the fact that they're just physically weak. It's more than that, right? So in conclusion, as you see in this video, spare me your propaganda about the female, this female soldier was like a hero in combat. Yeah, this 1 out of 1,000 female soldiers got this medal. Or, look at this female bodybuilder. She's stronger than a lot of different men. She can pass the male physical test. Okay, I don't care. The sheer fact of the matter is that women do not belong in the military or the police force. I don't know what you want me to say. You can argue that, that's not meritocratic of you because that deprives these sectors of merit. You're discriminating against someone who might be the best for the job. But I simply do not buy that. And frankly, to whatever extent the supposedly 0.1111% of qualified women are denied entry into these fields, Frankly, I could care less because I think we will be just fine without them. Look at human history. America won both world wars without a single female fighting in the ranks. Rome, Britain, the Ottomans, the Han Chinese, all these successful empires you can point to in history did not enlist a single female soldier. And I think they did just fine. I think they built civilizations just fine. Whereas you compare that with the U.S. military since the late 1990s when we've implemented gender equality and all this stuff. I don't know if that's really true. I don't know if we're exactly losing potential merit. If anything, we're adding dead weight to the military, I'd have to say. So point being, I think we'd be just fine, okay? And again, I think we as a society simply ought to declare that as every past civilization in human history has, high stress, high-risk situations like war and law enforcement and all of this are simply no place for a lady. Case closed. Call me whatever names you want. Don't care. All right? Well, before we go on to our next story here, let me check Super Chats. I know we got quite a bit coming through, so let me check that real quick. And I know that was a little bit off topic, but that's really when I saw that video, that's the first thing I was thinking. Am I sexist for that? I don't know, because the first thing I saw, the police are being stupid, whatever. But I was like, again, that freaking Transformer, Optimus Prime, he's tall, he's big, and then these two little, female cops, they're short, they're not even, big, athletic women, they're just, normal. I'm like, how are they going to even handle that situation? So, that's what motivated the whole tangent about why, again, I don't think women belong in military or the law enforcement. But with that said, let me check these super chats. And again, as usual, if you want to support the show, feel free to send in a super chat. We will be reading them now, and then I'll read them a little bit after the next few segments. But we got Daniel McQuaid became a Dowpath General member. Appreciate it, Daniel McQuaid. I don't think I've ever seen you in chat before, but good to see you. Appreciate it. Appreciate the support. JD for $2 says, that cop was laughing in the back during the attack. Yeah, well, it says a lot, right? It says a lot. Thank you for the $2. It's pretty clear where the police stand, obviously. And I think we know this, we understand this. But again, I just don't think we can overlook the fact that, look at those cops. I mean, let's be real here. And I actually heard from a source in Canada, someone told me that lives in Vancouver. They've been doing that in the police force up there. They've just been hiring a bunch of women and all this diversity stuff in the police force. So, I don't know if someone wants to check on the crime stats of Vancouver in the next few years. Let's take a look at that. Thank you for the $2, JD. Zeb Boykin for $20. Very huge donation. Thank you for the $20, Zeb. God bless you. Says, if we allow this to happen without repercussions, it will continue to happen. Him and anyone else that is attacked by Transformers or anyone should retaliate with equal to or greater force. Go tell the teacher mentality. Zeb Boykin, thank you for the $20. Here's the issue, though. Here's the issue. So as you see in that video, right, what would happen is if he struck back, he'd be arrested by the Vancouver police, okay? Now, to an extent, it would be a good thing. Oh, well, he stood up for himself. But the thing is that very often martyrdom and creating a sense of martyrdom is the most effective political strategy. And so that's not me saying not to stick up for themselves or, you know, obviously if someone attacks you, you should defend yourself. But I think like in a situation like that, optically speaking and strategically speaking, there is something to be said about, you know, the fact that he just kind of like backed away after it, because then he can't be thrown in jail. Nothing can be charged against him, which would have happened. And then how can he do his activism if he's in jail? Okay, well, at least he proved a point. But then I guess, you know, long term. So obviously as a man, I definitely say, you know, don't let people put their hands on you. But I also think that the social effects of the video did do something. This is a tactic that the civil rights movement, which was very effective, right? They did a good job with optics and strategy and all that. This is a tactic that they employed that make them so effective. And very often they would actually kind of go in and instigate something. But then, you know, what do? Then you hey, they're attacking us now. So it's an interesting debate. I would say everyone just stick up for themselves, do what they need to do. But thank you for the $20 big donation. Dollar for $5 says, my goal is to become Donald Trump's private pilot. Kyle Rittenhouse can be my co-pilot. It's going to be epic and cool. Thank you for the $5. Dollar for dollar. Is Kyle Rittenhouse learning how to fly? I'm not even sure. But that would be very epic. Now, dollar for dollar, are you ready to fly the Trump airliner? Are you ready to fly Air Force One yet? We need to see proof of this, okay? I know you fly your little propeller plane. Let's see. Dollar for dollar, can he pass Microsoft Flight Simulator? We must find this out. Thank you for the $5. Dollar for dollar. Burgundy Blue for $10, thank you very much, says, my goal is to be... oh, wait, no, sorry, wrong one. Canada is what we will be like in one generation. Sadly, if we don't fix things, I agree with you, right? You can see the writing on the wall. Everyone be sure to leave a like on the stream right now, by the way. Get us to 100 likes. But near complete liberal control of institutions and bureaucracy, special rights for non-English language, and rejection of the country's culture/history. Thank you very much for the $10 Burgundy Blue. It is sadly true to an extent, but the thing is that Canada is a very big country, but they don't have the large rural population like we do. Like they have Alberta, which is conservative and based and all that, and they like guns and all that. But you know, the only thing I would say, as long as we preserve it, is a little bit of a safeguard from becoming Canada, is the fact that we have the South, which is obviously changing now. Look at Georgia, but has a lot more population than Canada and has way more of this like rebellious culture against the system than Canada. So that is true. That is a point. But there are safeguards, I think, from us becoming Canada, but long term overall, like I definitely get your point. It is a sad reality. But thank you for the $10 Burgundy Blue. Zeb Boykin for $10 says, not only are they not physically and mentally capable, but it hinders men in the unit because they're obligated to take care of the women. It's natural. There are many studies on this. Exactly, Zeb. Thank you for the 10. Exactly what I was saying. It's so true. It is very, very true. Enclave Nationalist, I missed this one earlier, says, where do you think Gypsy Crusader would be on a political compass? I don't know really enough about what Gypsy Crusader believes, okay? Believe it or not, Enclave, a lot of normal people have not sat down and binged his content. But all right. Thank you for the member chat. Enclave Nationals for $5 says, what would be your reaction if you met Gypsy Crusader on Omegle? I don't even know what he looks like, honest. Like, I know who he is. I know you keep trolling about him, but I don't actually know what he even looks like. So, I don't know. I'd just be like, hey, who are you? But thank you for the $5 Enclave. Zeb Boykin for $5 says, we are so scared and we have something to lose that we aren't willing to fight for it. Thank you for the $5 Zeb Boykin. Real Texan Politics, here's the last super chat, and then I gotta finish the segments, and then we'll get to your super chats later in the night. Says, a big message to all, especially those who live in Wisconsin and Chicago. Vote for Dan Kelly and Paul Vallas tomorrow. No sitting out. All right, you hear that? Wisconsin and Chicago. Vote for Dan Kelly. Vote for Paul Vallas. I don't know what's going on. There must be a special election. Go vote. Vote, our Midwesterners. All right, here we go. On to our next story here, all right? Thank you all for the super chats. And again, we're going to read them later in a second. So send them in now, because I feel like the show's going to run a little bit late tonight. So if you want to send them in now, so that way they're all like backloaded and I can just do them, feel free to do that. But all right, on to our next story here. World famous transvestite transformer, that seems to be a theme tonight. Dylan Mulvaney is now sponsored by Bud Light, of all things. Check it out.
Hi. Impressive carrying skills, right? I got some Bud Lights for us. So, I kept hearing about this thing called March Madness, and I thought we were all just having a hectic month, but it turns out it has something
San Diego
to do with
State,
sports.
by the way.
And I'm not sure exactly which sport, but either way, it's a cause to celebrate. This month, I celebrated my day 365 of womanhood, and Bud Light sent me possibly the best gift ever, a can with my face on it. Check out my Instagram story to see how you can enjoy March Madness with Bud Light and maybe win some money too.
Okay.
Love ya! Cheers! Go team! Whatever team you love, I love too. Okay. Love ya. Okay.
Okay, so first of all, March Madness is over, basically. The national championship is tonight, but I don't know, whatever. There's a second video. Do you guys want to see the second video? Should we play the second video? Let's just play it for a second so you get the idea.
The estimated hold time is now less than 96 minutes.
Okay, you get the idea. I'm not going to show you, but yeah, the second video is more disgusting and strange, and but yeah, this is the case. So one of America's most connotatively masculine beers now has a transvestite transformer Optimus Prime as the face of it. When you really think about it, there's nothing more American than this in 2023. I don't say that in a good way, but I say that in a very negative way. But you know what I'm saying? Like they take one of the most masculine quote-unquote things in America, which I'm about to tell you in a second why I actually don't agree with that, but whatever. And they turn it into a transformer. So, like I said, though, I think that this raises an important point that I've said in like offhand comments on this channel for a long time. And I will use this incident to vindicate my take, which is that beer is a psyop, ladies and gentlemen. We are told very often that, at least like light beer like this, right, is a man's drink. Probably because it's so disgusting. So like, yeah, it's manly because it's gross and tastes terrible. But it's not manly because, first of all, not only is it 4.2% alcohol, yeah, you're a real tough guy drinking your 4.2% Bud Light. Not only is it bad for you, very bloating, not only does it make you fat, guys, it is literally full of estrogen, okay? Beer is full of estrogen, that is correct. Bud Light contains phytoestrogen and prolactin, both of which increases the level of estrogen production in your body. I really wonder why this has been sold as a man's drink for the past few decades in America. Surely that is not a coincidence, right? Surely convincing men that drinking a bunch of stuff full of estrogen and telling them it's actually a manly thing to do is not a psyop to emasculate men, right? Let me put it this way, because I know this take might be controversial, but the men who built America did not drink Bud Light. Okay, can I say it that way? The founding fathers drank rum, right? Most men throughout history drank a lot of whiskey, right? That's kind of been the connotatively manly liquor in this country. Compare that stereotype, too. For everyone's like, oh, beer and whiskey, so cool. Compare the stereotype of a Western cowboy shooting whiskey, or even like a 1950s businessman drinking whiskey, with a fat, out-of-shape, middle-aged dad screaming at a sports game with his Bud Light. Like, I get it that nowadays in America that is considered masculine, but when you really think about it, what is actually really all that masculine about that, right? Sure, I mean, I don't get me wrong. I think the out-of-shape, fat, sports ball dad is still more masculine in comparison to the millennial, stoner, hippie liberal that he makes fun of. But do you see how our standards have really slipped as a society? Do you see what I'm saying with this whole beer is a psyop take? They're literally trying to get men to drink estrogen and convince them that it's the masculine thing to do. And, they tell you, oh, you think beer is gross? That's not just because your body's rejecting it because it's crap. No, you're just not a man. You're not a man. You can't handle Bud Light. Yeah, again, okay, Mr. 4.2% alcohol, you're a real tough guy at your NFL game, aren't you? You see what I'm saying? Again, beer is a psyop designed to give you man boobs. I'm not exaggerating that. I'm not, this is just true. And let Dylan Mulvaney on the face of Bud Light confirm that to you. This is true. He is the face of Bud Light, and hormonally, like I said, it actually makes perfect sense. If you drink liquid estrogen, you become liquid estrogen. There you go, beer heads. You see that? You drink Bud Light, you're literally gay. I don't know what to tell you, okay? Do you want to be like Dylan? I don't think so. I don't think so, men. Now, actual beer, let me say, if you're German, drink actual lager. If that's your thing, I don't know. I'm not very familiar with all this stuff, but I'm just saying, like Bud Light, Natty Light, all that stuff. First of all, it tastes awful. Okay, I had like one in high school because it's like, high school party. Let me try. No, it's horrible. Okay, it's horrible. And like I said, I had an instinct at the time because we know it's giving you man boobs. So cancel the fake American beer. If you want to drink, I don't know, drink an old fashioned or a whiskey or something. Just stop drinking estrogen and thinking that it's cool. And let that be the wake up call. Let that be the wake-up call. All right, well, final story of the night here, and then we will go on to Super Chats. This is not a very serious story, but I love this. Okay, I just love this. You love to see it. The New York Times has been stripped of their verification checkmark on Twitter because they are refusing to pay the $8 a month or however much it is to be verified. So the New York Times is officially unverified news, according to Twitter. Folks, we love to see it, don't we? Can we get a round of applause? Can we get a round of applause in chat? Hey, how can I trust it? Guys, how can we trust the New York Times? How do we know it's not fake news? I don't see a verification badge. I thought, don't you want us to be NPCs? Aren't we supposed to think like that? So New York Times, again, officially unverified news, according to Twitter. And you know who does have a blue check mark, though? Not the New York Times. But guess who is verified, chat? Guess who is? Vince Dow. Vince Dow is verified on Twitter. So, the New York Times can write all this garbage. Oh, Vince Dow spreads misinformation. Vince Dow is a right-wing conspiracy theorist. Oh, yeah? Well, in that case, what color is your verification badge? New York Times? No, it's a genuine question. What color is your verification badge? What color is your blue check mark? Huh? Oh, you don't have one? You don't have one because you're fake news? We love to see it. Round of applause again. Thank you, Elon. Now, the liberals are seething at this, which, first of all, you lazy dorks, you could pay the fee like everyone else. Like, this is just the rule. They're charging everyone for the check mark. It's not just the New York Times. All the money that the New York Times has, they can't pay for a check mark. Like, are you serious? Now, of course, these are the same people who will always lecture you about paying higher taxes, taxing the rich. And it's like, you can't even pay for the check mark on Twitter? No, it's out of principle because the check mark is stupid. Why should you have to pay for it? Okay, then, I don't know, stay unverified then. But, this is what's so funny about Elon charging now for all these verification checks is that for all of the hate that it gets, all these hit pieces from liberals about how Twitter is a failing business and Elon doesn't know what he's doing. Well, I don't know if you guys heard about this, but last month, Twitter's top big tech competitor, Meta, which is, Facebook and Instagram, they rolled out the exact same thing. So they're now doing the verification badges for money on Instagram and Facebook too. So isn't that interesting? You guys say, oh, Elon Musk is such a stupid and ridiculous businessman and his business practices make no sense and Twitter is going broke. And yet, apparently it is so good that Twitter's top big tech competitors, who are ran by leftists, by the way, Mark Zuckerberg's not exactly on our side, they're now doing the exact same thing. Why? Because it's a profitable idea. Right? It's almost as if you dumb journalists and random people on Twitter don't actually know what you're talking about. It's almost as if you never run a business in your life. You know nothing about money. All you know is how to collect, W-2 pay stubs. And Elon Musk, in contrast, is one of the most successful businessmen on earth. And, maybe, just maybe, he knows more about making money than you. Is that a thought that enters your arrogant brains? It never is. Right? It just never is. As usual, liberals are just simply... I never really noticed this when I was younger. I never understood this, but you see it much more now. Now that I, make money for myself, I do stuff. you really do see that they are NPCs, which is why they all work these wage jobs for someone else and will never run their own businesses. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's fine to work, I think, a wage job for a company. But I'm saying if that's all you know how to do, you don't have the arrogance to stand here and talk trash about successful businessmen when, again, you don't have a clue. You don't have a clue what you're talking about. You don't know anything about business practice. You can't even conceptualize how money is made. And then, here you are saying, oh, Elon Musk is going broke. That's such a terrible idea. Yeah, what do you know? Again, what color is your blue badge? Real and true. And then, of course, these are the same people who stand there and ask these stupid questions like, why don't the rich pay any income tax? Why don't corporations pay income tax? It's like, sure, to a large degree, there's a lot of corruption. I don't deny there's a lot of bad loopholes in the tax code. But, a lot of it also has to do with the fact that they are businesses, and business owners have something called expenses, okay? They track expenses, they record expenses. You people don't track any expenses, most of these liberals, because they're W-2s, or better yet, they live on unemployment, right? So, you don't, they like these people, you explain it to them, they don't understand, oh, how do they write off so much income? Well, it's because, see, if you ever actually owned a business, or at least asked how it worked, you would know 1099s, you would know you write off your expenses, your net income isn't just revenue you brought in, there's something called expenses, but you don't understand that because you never worked in that. You would know how assets worked if you owned assets, but you don't. Long story short, whatever, as usual, it's just these people tend not to know anything about how anything works. They don't know the first thing about money, but, some socialist public school teacher who is terrible with money is, and it's so bad, actually, she needs the government to manage her pension for her. She's going to sit here and scream about how Elon Musk is a stupid businessman and Twitter's going to go under. Be quiet, you. Seriously? So, here you see it as usual. On the flip side, I'm genuinely curious to see how much the New York Times will lose in revenue and how long it takes for them to cave, because that verification mark on social media, it is very important for engagement. It's probably losing them a lot of money, so I'm curious to see how that goes. But all right, well, that is our news for tonight. New York Times, unverified. We love to see. Oh, I forgot. Actually, I forgot. I got to show you guys the racist turtle. Okay, last story, and then we'll get into super chats. I got to show you the racist turtle. Okay, this is racist turtle, chat. What you're like, Vince? What do you mean racist? No, I'm okay. Listen up, kids. This is the most important story of the night. I saved the best for last. This has heavy implications for Western civilization. I just got to show it to you guys. I can't explain it. My own words cannot explain it. I just have to show you guys. Here is racist turtle, okay? Look at that. I told you, it's racist. Look at that. The white shoe, he's fine with it. Not a fan of black shoes. Not a fan of brown shoes. He even hates blue people. Okay, the blue men are not going to be happy about that. Red people. This is racist towards Native Americans. Apparently, that was light enough. Oh, the white shoe, he doesn't care. Look at this guy. He picked the blackest shoe. This is a hate crime. Come on, man. Yeah, this is racist turtle. He's homophobic, too. What the? Oh, no! No! But the white shoe, as usual, is okay. All right. There's racist turtle, chat. I don't know. What are your thoughts? All right. Send it a super. All super chats tonight are going to go to the diversity, equity, and inclusion training for the racist turtle. I think he needs it. I think he needs it. I mean, look at him. Look at that. We need sensitivity training for this. Okay. He don't have no education. He just needs some education. Look at that. Well, it's fun. I posted this on Twitter and it got over 1,000 likes and 70,000 views. So racist turtle is now going viral. Thanks to your boy. You're welcome. We need to bring awareness to racism in the turtle community. Look at that. He went for he knows the first thing he saw, the black shoe, the blackest shoe of them all. Unbelievable. Okay. and homophobic as well. So yeah, that's racist turtle. All right. With that said, folks, let's get to the super chats. We're at 91 likes. Let's get to 100 likes, and we got about 15 minutes or so here for the super chats. So let's do that. He needs some CRT. Exactly. Okay. All funds tonight. We're gonna finance DEI training, diversity, equity, and inclusion for the racist turtle. Okay, I think he very much needs it. So, all right, let's catch up on some super chats here. He looks like a dollar store joker. I assume you're talking about Dylan Mulvaney. I agree. Burgundy Blue, thank you for the $2. Appreciate it very much. Fake woman promoting fake beer. Exactly. You know, Bud Light's going to go up in flames, hopefully. Although, well, figuratively speaking, of course. I mean that as in a financial sense. But then again, someone brought up a good point, which is that it's going to raise their ESG score. So, you know, that's how a lot of the economy works now. So, but yeah, thank you for the $2. It is so true. Wake up. Bud Light is fake beer. It always was. It's not, oh, well, just because Dylan Mulvaney pissed you off. No, this has always been the case. But thank you very much. Dollar for Dollar says, honestly, center left is better than center right. I disagree with that, because what about like social issues? Because center right would at least be marginally more right wing than center left. But the thing is also, I think the center left doesn't exist anymore. Who is the center left anymore? Are there any leftists that are in the center, or do they all do the coddling of the radicals? So that's what I would say. All right, anyways, again, about 14 minutes left in super chats. If you want to send them in now. We will read them. But let's catch up here. Real Text and Politics for $5. Thank you very much. Says, mentally ill Transformers and LGBT ABC people like Dylan Mulvaney and Jeffrey Marsh give me the heebie-jeebies. And I don't get freaked out that easily by people. Thank you for the $5, Real Text and Politics. Hey, so you're saying you're definitionally transphobic? Canceled. I think we need to send you to the DEI training that we're going to send the turtle to. Kidding. Thank you for the $5. Appreciate it. Good to see you, man. Enclave Nationalist for $5 says, opinion on national capitalism. So it's like economically right to far right instead of center right. I don't know. You'd have to give me more of the ideas, Enclave Nationalist. It just sounds like a word. I don't know. It sounds like a word. Explain it more. Thank you for the $5. Burgundy Blue for $10. Thank you very much. Says, straight conservative men must take this country back / restore authority. We need to infiltrate the bureaucracy and get jobs in government / business. Hide out most spicy views, but promote conservative thought. Thank you for the $10, Burgundy Blue. I appreciate it. Here's the thing about that. It is true. We would like to see a conservative takeover of the federal bureaucracy. There are many obstacles to that, okay? And first and foremost, I don't think the bureaucracy, even from its inception, was ever meant to serve conservatives. Who set it up? Woodrow Wilson, and then FDR, LBJ. Like, literally all of our enemies set up this apparatus. And, realistically, I think in many ways the government would work better for the people without all of these things. And so I think, frankly, the best thing we can do politically is do our best just to dismantle the bureaucracy, because we don't really have the time to be particular about it otherwise. We can say, oh, let's spend like 30, 40 years marching through the Bureau of blank, which, first of all, how are you going to find the people who want to do that? Nobody self-respecting wants to work for government bureaucracy, make like $60,000 a year and live on a pension. How many like ambitious, big brain conservative people are going to want to, settle for that or do that with their lives? I don't know. So I think realistically, the best thing politically to do is just get rid of the bureaucracy. If we need something later on, we can figure out how to set it up for ourselves. But I think there's just so many institutional barriers there to trying to do that. And frankly, I don't know if we have the time, right? Do we necessarily have the time to do that? Because, I mean, realistically, I think the next decade or so is going to be very pivotal to the future of this country. Like, if we don't get the right political changes set in motion, I don't know if we're really going to have a chance to do anything beyond the state and the local level. So I don't know if I would say, thinking big picture, oh, well, you know, let's take back the bureaucracy or academia over 30 to 40 years. It is noble. It is virtuous. People should do that. But I don't know if we have the time as a country to entertain all of that as a movement, or nor do we have the resources. So I think really what you got to do with the federal bureaucracy is just cut it, drastically neuter its power, and the next Republican president hopefully would be able to do that, at least in theory. Because even think about this too. You could say, oh, 40 years, we're going to hope we retake the bureaucracy. Okay, fine. But in the short term now, the bureaucracy is obstructing us, right? Because every time, let's say President Trump, first term Trump wants to do something, what happens? FBI hides information from him, steps in, counteracts him, sues him, whatever it is. So I think we really just got to make cuts on that front. Zeb Boykin for $2 says Gypsy Crusader is dollar store Joker. Oh, okay. Thank you for clarifying that. Thank you for clarifying that. I'm not super familiar with what the guy actually looks like. Dollar for $5 says, I mean that center left isn't as retarded and weak as the center right. Well, this is true, but then this is also why I would say that the center left isn't really center, which I would also kind of make that argument that this fake sense of moderation. But you are absolutely true on that front. Yeah, I mean, the center left will stick up way more for the actual left, whereas the center right, all they will essentially do is point to the real conservatives and just stand there and cry about it all day. Oh, that's too rat. Oh, I don't think we should go that far. I don't think we should. And then the center left, I mean, Bill Maher and people like that will occasionally push back, but at the end of the day, they just sit around and enable their side doing what it really wants to do. And then our center right, you're right, very often is like, oh, well, we can't do that now. Now, that's not very principled. Let me write a million National Review articles about why being the principled case for the principally conservative case for not being conservative. Many such cases. So thank you for the $5, dollar for dollar. It is very true. Jonathan Fields for $2. Thank you very much. Says, hey, Vince, thank you for the videos. God bless you. God bless you too. Jonathan Fields, good to see you here in chat. Thoughts on Johnny Appleseed? Let me remind myself the actual story behind Johnny Appleseed. Because I've heard of him in like a game, but like I assume he was a real person, right? What is a true story of Johnny Appleseed? He spread the gospel of the apple throughout the Midwest. So he was like a missionary who planted apples. Well, he sounds pretty cool. Sorry. Jeez. Yeah, no, he sounds pretty cool. I think I'm pro Johnny Appleseed. Real Texan Politics for $5. Thank you very much. Says, beer increasing estrogen levels seems to correlate with the amount of breweries in hippie cities like Portland, Seattle, San Francisco, etc. It's true. It's true. Hey, listen. This is one of my most underrated takes ever. Beer is not actually masculine. It is actually... I mean, actual lager in Germany, I mean, I don't know anything about that stuff. I'm just saying American beer is feminine. It's full of estrogen. It is a psyop, okay? The great men who built this country never engaged in that stuff, and it is true. Thank you for the $5, Real Texan Politics, and a very good observation. We may have to take a look. Where are all the major breweries in America placed, and then what's the correlation there? It is so true. Enclave Nationalist for $5. Can I even read these super chats? Okay. My blank character rankings are Right-Wing Riddler, Dr. Paul, and Joker. Okay, thank you for the $5, Enclave Nationalist. I don't know what you're even talking about, but thank you for the $5. Dollar for $2 says get Alex Stein on the show. I assume you mean Alex Stein, unless there is an individual named Alex Stein. But yeah, we could do that. I don't think I've ever like interacted with him personally, but he follows me, so we could try to make that happen. We're mutuals. Which, by the way, I don't know if you guys saw this. I didn't post about it on YouTube, but I did post about it on some of my other socials. Joe Rogan apparently follows me on Instagram. That was crazy. I didn't even know. Someone commented on my one of my pictures saying, "Hey, Joe Rogan," and I looked. It's real. Go to Joe Rogan's Instagram. Type in thevincedao. Joe Rogan follows me on Instagram. It's crazy, crazy. I actually sent him a message. I said, thank you for following. And he also responded, which I will keep the details of that private, but shout out Joe Rogan for following Vince Dow on Instagram. That's big. That's like, wow. I never really get like starstruck at some of the people because I have a decently big Instagram page. It's like almost 150,000, like, you know, so like people follow me, but I was like, Joe Rogan, like that was crazy. So it is real, because Joe Rogan's not even from the conservative sphere. That's what really shocked me, right? But he followed me. I was like, wow, insane. Does Vince Dow need to go on the Joe Rogan podcast soon? JRE with Vince Dow. We're going to make it happen. Trust the plan. Burgundy Blue for $10. Thank you very much. Says, still need some bureaucracy. All I'm saying is that we need brave, unknown foot soldiers prepared to run the country. No matter how small we make it, if it's still liberal, it will overpower Congress slash the president. True, but you know how you do that? The efficient way to do that is not march through the institutions themselves. You got to just use the spoil system, right? You got to literally just take power, grab the bureaucracy, cut most of it, and then just literally say, I'm going to hire President so-and-so is going to hire all of his friends to run the bureaucracy. That's the more efficient way to do it, frankly. The whole like long-term infiltration thing, yeah, it's good, yeah, it's noble, but also let's just be realistic about the time frame of it. So I think it is true, but what we got to do is the spoil system, not so much the whole, everyone go take a job in the government, and then we're going to change it in 20 years. Because if you really organize people to do that, I suppose it could work. But I don't really trust the plan on organizing that, at least not yet. But thank you for the $10, Burgundy Blue. Appreciate it. We got about 4 minutes here left in the show. So any last super chats, send them in now, or hold your peace until tomorrow night. Which, by the way, tomorrow night, again, one last reminder, we'll be streaming the Trump speech at 8:15 tomorrow. So come join us. Come join us. It'll be fun stream, longer stream. I'll try not to talk too much during it. I try to keep it as reaction content just for plausible deniability on YouTube. But everyone's like, oh, stop talking over the speech. Okay. But actually, I did some legal research today, and it sounds like a speech like that you can actually just play on YouTube. So I don't know. We might be able to do it. But this is the plan. But any last super chats? We got about 3 minutes here. How many likes are we at? 99 likes? Someone leave a like. What are we doing? Don't be sitting here at 99 likes. Get a like in there. All right. Real Text and Politics for $2 says, get Vince on Tim Pool too. Real. We're going to make it happen. Trust the plan. There may be something in the works. I'm not promising anything, but it's a goal. You know. What do you think of Trump saying he likes Fauci? It's kind of a complicated issue politically. We don't have time to get into it tonight. But obviously it's bad. He should have fired him. But when you really look back in retrospect, I mean, yes, he should have just done the right thing, and I'm not excusing it. But people forget that Fauci had like an 80-90% approval rating at the start of the Cope Cootie. You know, it's like, so yes, he should have just done the right thing because it's the right thing and not worried about the election or whatever. But this is kind of forgotten, right? This is a little bit forgotten. Now that Fauci, obviously everyone knows he's a fraud. Now, people like you and I were saying from the start, this guy sucks. But you can't forget. For a long time, like most of the public supported that guy. So it's a little bit sticky. It's a little bit complicated. But all right. Anything? We got 1 minute left. So any last things? But before then, be sure to leave a like. Again, join us tomorrow night here for the Trump speech. And that will be fun. That will be quite entertaining. So let's do it. Vince red pilling Tim Pool would be red pilling everyone on Tim Pool would be epic. Real. We must do this. Burgundy Blue for $2 says, the boy sent you a super chat. Where? Did I miss it? I don't see anything here. But here we go. Last one from Abby for $20 says, the Tech Boy review sent Vince a message. Go check it. Thank you, Abby, for the 20. I don't see it in the chat, though. Big donation from Abby, as usual. Mega donor Abby, as we call her. I don't see it here. Where did he send it? Is it in the chat or is it on social? I don't see it in the chat. Let me see. Wait. I sent you a chat in Twitter. Oh. Well, then I'll go respond to you on Twitter. All right. I'll respond to you. But all right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us tonight. I will respond to you on Twitter, Tech Boy. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to join us tomorrow night. Have a very good night. Until then, remember to leave a like and subscribe if you are new. And until then, ladies and gentlemen, Alpha moves only. God bless. Have a very good night and peace.